3 weeks after my grandmother died, I was going through the closet in her sewing room when I found a manila folder taped shut with my name written across the front in handwriting I didn't recognize. The date underneath it was 11 years before I was born. To explain why that felt like ice water down my spine, you need to know about the case my hometown still whispers about, more than 40 years later. In the fall of 1979, 2 teenagers from my grandmother's town parked at the end of a logging road after a football game. A man walked out of the dark and started shooting. One of them survived by crawling into a drainage ditch and staying still for almost 2 hours, sure he'd be found and finished off. The sheriff's department figured it was a robbery, or maybe some drifter passing through on the highway. Tragic, but isolated. 8 months later, it happened again. A couple was attacked at a boat launch on the reservoir outside town. This time, one of them survived and got a real look at the man. Medium height, a denim jacket, and round wire-rimmed glasses, though he never said a word the whole time. That's when the letters started. They came to the local newspaper office, typed on the same machine each time. No return address. The writer described details from both attacks that had never been printed. Exactly what was said, the order the shots were fired. At the bottom of each letter, he drew the same symbol, a circle with a slash through it, backwards, like a mirrored no sign. He signed the letters the compass. Some of them included blocks of numbers and symbols he called codes, daring anyone to solve them. The paper printed everyone, and for a while, half the town was working on them at their kitchen tables. My grandmother's church group even ran a weekly code night in the basement. A retired math teacher and his daughter actually broke one. It wasn't a name. It was one paragraph about how nobody looks twice at a man who smiles, which felt worse than a confession would have. The compass wrote for almost 2 years, taunting the sheriff by name in print and claiming 2 more attacks that were never confirmed or matched to any open case. Then came the day nobody in town still talks about. A family was having a picnic by the reservoir when a man in a yellow rain slicker and a paper bag over his head with that backward circle drawn on it in marker stepped out of the trees. He didn't move for almost a full minute, then turned and walked back into the woods. Nobody was hurt. Days later, someone spray painted that same symbol on the side of the Lutheran church downtown. After that, the letters just stopped. No goodbye, no final taunt. Over the next 20 years, the sheriff's office worked through more than 200 suspects. 2 were arrested and released. 1 died in prison years later for something unrelated, and for a while, everyone was sure it had been him, until his handwriting didn't match the letters at all. A true crime podcast picked up the case a couple years ago, and the attention got the state crime lab to retest an old envelope flap for DNA. They got a partial profile. It's never matched anyone, which brings me back to the folder with my name on it. Inside were newspaper clippings about the compass, every single one, cut and dated in order, and a single page of notebook paper, handwritten, never mailed. At the top, it said, "For whoever finds this after I'm gone." It was my grandmother's handwriting. She'd written that in spring 1981. A man who rented the room above her father's garage, quiet, polite, round glasses, packed his things in the night 2 days after the picnic and never came back for the rest. She'd kept one thing he left behind. Taped to the bottom of the page was a torn scrap of paper with a backward circle drawn on it in the same blue ink as the rest of her letter. She never told the sheriff. She wasn't sure and didn't want to ruin an innocent man's life over what might have been a coincidence. That DNA sample is still sitting in a freezer at the state lab, waiting for a match that may never come. I still haven't decided what I'm supposed to do with any of this.